Robert's hunt is still meant to be Cersei's cleanest murder. Lancel keeps the wine flowing, the king grows careless, and the boar charges while Robert is too drunk to move with his old speed. But Barristan Selmy reacts before the wound becomes fatal. He gets between Robert and the beast long enough for the hunters to finish it, and Robert returns to King's Landing injured, humiliated, and alive. That one change destroys Cersei's whole position. Ned has already traced the truth through Jon Arryn's investigation, the Book of Lineages, Robert's bastards, and the Baratheon black hair. Jaime has already attacked Ned in the streets and fled the capital. Now Robert comes home to hear the accusation from Ned directly, not as a dying king signing a last will, but as the sitting king with guards, power, and rage. There is no Joffrey coup in the throne room. There is no clean Lannister takeover. Robert is alive, Ned is hand, Barristan is loyal, and Cersei suddenly has no time to escape the truth. Hello everyone, and welcome to Storyteller's Codex. Here we delve deep into the rich lore of the Lord of the Rings, a song of ice and fire, and the vast worlds beyond. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Cersei tries to move fast, but she is alone at the worst possible moment. Jaime's gone. Tywin is in the west. The gold cloaks can be bought, but Robert is still king. Ned controls the legal case, and Barristan's rescue has made him even more trusted. Cersei cannot quietly move Joffrey, Myrcella and Tommen out of the capital without every gate and stable watching her. She is seized with the children before she can reach safety. Robert's fury is immediate. This is not only treason. To him, it is humiliation, incest, stolen heirs, and years of being mocked inside his own court. Cersei is executed as a traitor, and that makes peace with Casterly Rock almost impossible. Ned stops the next slaughter. He argues that the children did not choose their birth and should be held as prisoners, not butchered. Robert hates it, but Ned's voice still matters to him, so Joffrey, Myrcella and Tommen live as royal hostages. House Lannister loses Cersei, but Tywin and Jaime still have blood to rescue and blood to avenge. The news reaches the Lannisters like wildfire. Cersei is dead. Jaime is named as the father of her children. Joffrey, Myrcella and Tommen are prisoners. Tywin understands that Robert has not only insulted House Lannister, he has placed it under threat of extinction. Jaime wants revenge, and this time Tywin has both sons available because Tyrion's Vale story still happens. Catelyn takes him to the Eyrie, Lysa tries him, Bronn wins the trial by combat, and Tyrion leaves the Vale alive. When Tyrion reaches Tywin and Jaime, the West gains more than anger. It gains Jaime's battlefield skill, Tyrion's political instincts, and Tywin's discipline holding them together. Tywin moves before Robert's coalition can gather. Gregor Clegane, Amry Lorch, Raiders, Outriders, and Western Knights fall on the Riverlands. Villages burn, castles are pressured, and Riverrun becomes the first great target. Tywin knows the crown has more friends on paper, so he tries to win the early war before Robert can turn those friends into one army. Robert should have the stronger side. Ned brings the north. Hoster Tully's Riverlands have been attacked. Stannis and Renly are Robert's brothers. The Stormlands still know Robert as their lord. The Vale should answer for Jon Arryn, and the Lannisters stand alone in the west. But the heir question poisons the royal camp immediately. Joffrey, Myrcella and Tommen are exposed as Jaime's children, so Robert has no true-born heir. Ned argues for the lawful answer. Stannis is Robert's eldest surviving brother until Robert has a legitimate child. Stannis expects that recognition. Renly does not want to be trapped behind Stannis, and the Tyrells see the opening. Mace Tyrell offers Margaery as Robert's new queen, bringing Reach grain, Reach knights, and the promise of a new Baratheon Tyrell son. Quietly, the Tyrells push Renly as temporary heir until such a child is born. Robert wants to smash Tywin. Ned wants legal order. Stannis wants the succession fixed. Renly and Highgarden want influence. That delay gives Tywin time to keep burning the Riverlands. Ned cannot let the Riverlands collapse while the royal court argues over heirs. From King's Landing, he commands Robb to call the Northern Banners and march south through the Neck. This changes Robb's role. He's not a rebel king and not a boy improvising after his father's death. He is the heir of Winterfell acting under Ned Stark and King Robert against a declared Lannister rebellion. The northern host enters a Riverlands already damaged by Tywin's first strike. Jaime raids aggressively, Gregor spreads terror, and western forces try to isolate Riverrun before the north can fully arrive. Robb still proves dangerous. The Blackfish gives him Riverland experience, Edmure holds Riverrun as the political centre of resistance, and the northern lords realise Ned's son has real command instincts. But the front does not break cleanly. Tywin moved too quickly, and Tyrion helps read the Crown's weaknesses from inside the Lannister camp. For now, Robb and the Riverlords stabilise the war, but they cannot destroy Tywin before the conflict spreads beyond the Riverlands. Tywin knows the Crown's greatest weakness is money. Robert's government already owes huge debts to the Iron Bank, the Faith, and wealthy lenders. Without Lannister gold, the Iron Throne looks powerful but financially exposed. Tywin sends Tyrion east because Tyrion can do what Jaime cannot: argue, flatter, calculate, and see the deal from the other side. Tyrion tells the Iron Bank that Robert is violent, unstable, and now dependent on uncertain allies. Casterly Rock still has gold, disciplined armies, and a direct interest in recovering royal hostages. Backing Tywin is safer than backing a king who just executed his queen and may not be able to pay his debts. The Crown sends Littlefinger to counter him, but Littlefinger prefers chaos over a stable Robert-Ned government. He damages the Crown's case while pretending to negotiate for it. The Iron Bank backs the Lannisters with credit, ships, and access to Associ sellswords. Robert has the throne, but Tywin now has foreign money behind the West. Balon Greyjoy sees a realm tearing itself apart and chooses the old Ironborn answer. The North has marched south. The Riverlands are bleeding. Robert and Tywin are locked in open war. Stannis is being drawn toward naval command. Renly is tangled in succession politics, and the Vale is unreliable. Balon orders the Iron Fleet to raid northern shores and western sea routes. Theon becomes useful again because he knows Winterfell Robb and the Stark household, but the larger purpose is strategic. The Ironborn do not need to conquer the north in one stroke. They need to force Robb to divide his strength. Deepwood Motte, the Stony Shore, Bear Island's waters, and Moat Cailin become pressure points. Ned orders Robb to respond without abandoning the Riverlands. Robb sends Roose Bolton north with part of the army, while he remains with the Blackfish and the Tullys. That choice keeps the front alive, but it gives Roose independent command, weakens Robb's numbers, and gives Tywin the exact pressure he wanted without having to sail a single western ship. Varys reads the chaos better than anyone. Robert is alive but bloodied. Tywin is in rebellion. The Riverlands are ruined. The north is split by Ironborn raids. Stannis and Renly are competing over the future succession. The Iron Bank is backing Casterly Rock. The Vale is drifting out of reach. This is the opening Varys and Illyrio wanted, only earlier and messier. Varys removes Edric Storm, Robert's acknowledged bastard, because Edric is proof of Robert's blood, a possible hostage, and a way to complicate Baratheon legitimacy later. Then Varys turns toward Dorne. Doran Martell and Oberyn hate Tywin for Aelia, Rhaenys and Aegon, but they also hate the Baratheon regime that replaced the Targaryens. Varys offers them a better gamble. Aegon alive, the Golden Company ready, and a marriage between Aegon and Arianne Martell. Dorne does not need to rush. It can let Robert and Tywin bleed each other, then move with a Targaryen prince, Dornish spears, and the promise of vengeance wearing the mask of restoration. Robert gives Stannis the naval war because no one else fits the task. Stannis held Storm's End through starvation, crushed the Greyjoy fleet during Balon's first rebellion, and knows Dragonstone, the Gullet, and the approaches to King's Landing better than Renly ever will. If Iron Bank money is bringing ships, sellswords and supplies toward the Lannisters, Stannis must cut that line. The fighting becomes a hard campaign at sea, not one clean battle. Royal galleys from Dragonstone and King's Landing clash with hired Associ captains, sellsword transports and supply convoys protected by Braavosi credit. Stannis wins engagements through discipline and experience, but every victory costs ships and men the Crown needs elsewhere. While he is occupied, Littlefinger learns fragments of Varys' movement toward Dorne and Aegon. He writes to Lysa Arryn and keeps the Vale neutral because a fully united Robert, Ned, Stannis and Vale would end the game too quickly. So the Sea War drains Stannis, the Vale stays locked away, and the realm remains open for the next invasion. The largest battle comes when Robert finally brings the royal coalition to bear. Tywin and Jaime lead the Lannister host with the discipline of the West behind them. Robert rides with Ned, Renly, Tyrell's strength, Robb's reduced northern force, and the Blackfish's battered river lords. The crown wins because Robert is still terrifying in battle, Ned keeps the coalition focused, Renly and the Tyrells add numbers, and Robb has already stabilised the Riverlands long enough for the armies to join, but the victory was not clean. Tywin preserves the core of his strength and falls back to Casterly Rock with Jaime, Western Gold, and enough men to force a long siege. Robert can beat him in the field, but breaking the rock is another matter. While Westeros bleeds, the East changes. Drogo dies, Daenerys goes to Qarth without an army, and Aegon does not chase her. He gathers the Golden Company, marries Arianne Martell, and sails with Dorne behind him. Robert survives the boar and defeats the Lannisters in battle, but now a Targaryen prince is moving toward King's Landing while the realm is exhausted. If you're interested in The Lord of the Rings or A Song of Ice and Fire, click one of the links on the screen to dive deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.